If you think Ohio is just cornfields and highways, think again. Because hidden beneath those farmlands are places so surprising, you might not believe they actually exist. In this video, we're going to uncover 14 hidden gems across Ohio. And even lifelong locals haven't heard of some of these. And when we get to number 1, you'll see a place that feels like it belongs in a different country entirely. So stick around till the end, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Number 14, Cincinnati Fire Museum. Just a few blocks from Findley Market, at 315 West Court Street, stands a hidden gem most tourists walk right past. The Cincinnati Fire Museum is located in a beautifully restored 1906 firehouse and gives you a rare look at how firefighting began in America. Cincinnati is actually home to the very first paid professional fire department in the United States, and this museum honors that legacy. Step inside and you'll find hand-pulled fire engines from the 1800s, antique alarms, leather buckets, and early firefighter uniforms that tell stories of courage and innovation. There's also an interactive exhibit called The Safe House, where you can experience what it's like to escape a burning building. Perfect for kids and families. And yes, there's a real fire truck inside that children can climb on. Even though it's just minutes from major Cincinnati attractions, the Fire Museum often gets overlooked. But if you're into history, vintage design, or just want to see something most visitors miss, this little-known spot is worth your time. Number 13, Carolyn Historical Park. If you're ever near Dayton and want to walk through Ohio's history, not just read about it, Carolyn Historical Park is the place to go. Tucked along 1000 Carolyn Boulevard, this 65-acre open-air museum feels like stepping into a time capsule. What makes it really special is that it doesn't just show you artifacts, it tells you stories. You can actually see the original 1905 Wright Flyer 3, the world's first practical airplane, built by Dayton's own Wright brothers. It's the only plane that's both inventor-built and flown, still on display where it all began. But there's more. You'll find a charming collection of over 30 historic buildings, including an old print shop, a 19th century schoolhouse, and even an antique train you can hop aboard. The walkways are peaceful, the setting is green and open, and there's something calming about hearing the massive 151-foot-tall Deeds Carillon ring through the air. Number 12, Topiary Park. Right in the heart of downtown Columbus, just behind the main library on 480 East Town Street, lies a park that feels like it was pulled straight out of a painting. And that's because, in a way, it was. Topiary Park is the only known topiary representation of a painting anywhere in the world. It's based on Georges Seurat's famous work, A Sunday Afternoon, on the island of La Grande Jatte. Instead of paint on canvas, you'll see shrubs sculpted into life-sized figures. 54 people, 8 boats, 3 dogs, a monkey, and even a cat, all shaped out of yew trees and surrounded by a reflective pond that mimics the Seine River from the original painting. This peaceful 7-acre green space was first planted in 1988, but it has roots that go deeper. It was built on the grounds of the old Ohio School for the Deaf, and the park has become a quiet retreat, tucked between city streets and historic buildings. Visitors love how the figures come to life with each season, green and vibrant in summer, snow-dusted in winter. And while most tourists head for Columbus's bigger attractions, this park remains a calm, artistic escape that locals adore. Number 11, Stan Highwood Hall and Gardens. Tucked away in Akron at 714 North Portage Path, this hidden treasure might just be one of Ohio's grandest homes you've never heard of. Stan Highwood Hall is a 65-room Tudor Revival mansion built between 1912 and 1915 by F.A. Seiberling, the co-founder of Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. The name Stan Highwood is Old English for stone quarry, a nod to the property's original landscape. But what makes this place truly special isn't just its size. It's the story it tells about America's industrial past and the luxurious lifestyle of one of its wealthiest families. The mansion is packed with original furniture, artwork, and even clothing from the early 1900s. It's like stepping into a perfectly preserved time capsule. Outside, the estate stretches across 70 acres, with formal gardens, walking paths, and a beautiful greenhouse that's still bursting with color. While many tourists pass through Akron without even knowing it exists, Stan Highway is open to the public and offers guided tours that walk you through both the mansion and its gardens. Whether you're a history buff, a lover of architecture, or just someone who enjoys quiet beauty, this spot is a must-see. Number 10. Nelson Kennedy Ledges State Park. Tucked away near the quiet town of Garrettsville, this park might not show up on every tourist map, but locals know it's something special. Nelson Kennedy Ledges is full of towering rock formations, deep crevices, and narrow stone passages that twist through the forest like something straight out of a storybook. It's not your typical stroll. Some trails will have you ducking under ledges, or squeezing through tight gaps with names like Devil's Icebox and Fat Man's Peril. The stone walls are covered in moss and ferns, and after a rainy day, tiny waterfalls spill down into the shaded grottos. This park covers just over 160 acres, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in raw, rugged beauty. You don't need to be a hardcore hiker either. The trails are color-coded from easy to difficult, so anyone can explore safely. Most people outside Northeast Ohio have never even heard of it. That's what makes it feel like a hidden gem. It's quiet, peaceful, and full of surprises. And if you love exploring places that still feel untouched, this one's worth the stop. And hey, before moving to our next hidden gem, I hope you're enjoying this video so far, so why not give it a gentle thumbs up and let us know which one of these places you would love to visit first. Number 9. Findley Market. Right in the heart of Cincinnati's historic over-the-Rhine neighborhood sits a place bursting with color, energy, and stories. Findley Market. It's not just the oldest continuously operated public market in Ohio. It's a local treasure that's been feeding the community since 1855. The first thing you'll notice is the aroma. Fresh bread, sizzling sausages, spices from across the world. It's a sensory overload in the best way. Walk through the main building, and you'll find everything from locally sourced meats and cheeses to handmade chocolates and artisan coffee. Step outside, and the experience continues with open-air vendors selling flowers, produce, crafts, and street food. But Findley Market isn't just about food, it's about people. On weekends, it becomes a gathering place where live music plays, artists perform, and neighbors stop to chat. It's the kind of spot where you might show up for groceries and end up staying for the atmosphere. Despite its historic charm, it often flies under the radar for tourists who stick to the usual downtown attractions. But those who find it are rewarded with an authentic slice of Cincinnati culture, full of flavor, warmth, and local pride. Number 8. Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Tucked between Cleveland and Akron lies a national park that many travelers still overlook, even though it welcomes millions of visitors every year. Cuyahoga Valley National Park isn't your typical vast wilderness. It's a unique mix of deep forests, peaceful rivers, scenic waterfalls, and charming small towns, all stitched together by trails and railways that whisper stories of Ohio's past. One of the park's most iconic sights is Brandywine Falls, a 65-foot cascade that rushes over layers of sandstone, especially stunning after heavy rain. Then there's the Towpath Trail, a peaceful route that follows the old Ohio and Erie Canal. It's perfect for biking, walking, or just clearing your head. But what really makes this park special is how close it feels to home. You don't have to drive hours into the wilderness. It's nature that's right in the backyard of two major cities. Yet once you're inside, the outside world fades. Deer wander freely, the sound of birdsong replaces traffic, and the Cuyahoga River, once one of the most polluted in America, now flows clean again, a symbol of environmental rebirth. Number 7. Ash Cave. Tucked inside the forests of Hocking Hills lies a natural wonder that feels more like something from a fantasy novel than the American Midwest. Ash Cave is the largest recessed cave east of the Mississippi River, and when you step beneath its massive overhang, you'll understand why this place leaves people speechless. The cave stretches nearly 700 feet wide and towers 100 feet high, with a thin waterfall spilling gracefully over the rim in the spring and after heavy rains. The ground is soft and sandy, and the natural amphitheater creates an echo that adds to the surreal atmosphere. It's not just a place to visit, it's a place to feel. Ash Cave got its name from the large piles of ash once found inside, likely left behind by centuries of use from indigenous peoples and early settlers. Today, it's part of the Hocking Hills State Park trail system and one of the most accessible spots, with a short paved path leading directly into the cave's mouth. Number 6. Ohio Caverns. Deep beneath the rolling farmland of West Liberty lies one of Ohio's most extraordinary underground treasures. The Ohio Caverns aren't just any caves, they're known as America's most colorful caverns, and for good reason. As you descend into the earth, you're greeted with a dazzling array of natural formations. Crystal white stalactites hang from the ceiling. Stalagmites rise from the ground like frozen fountains. Some formations sparkle in purples, oranges, and blues, created by natural minerals seeping through the rock for thousands of years. The crown jewel? A nearly 5-foot-long crystal formation called the Crystal King, one of the largest and most perfectly formed stalactites in the country. The caverns were discovered in the late 1800s by a local farm boy who noticed a sinkhole in a nearby field. What he found led to over 2 miles of mapped passageways that twist, turn, and reveal one surreal chamber after another. Unlike some other caves that feel cramped or narrow, the Ohio Caverns are well lit, spacious, and carefully preserved. Guided tours are offered year-round, and the temperature stays a cool 54 degrees inside, which is a perfect escape on a hot summer day. Number 5. Lakeview Cemetery. Tucked away in the heart of Cleveland, Lakeview Cemetery isn't just a final resting place. It's an open-air museum full of stories, art, and history that most people drive right past. Founded in 1869, this 285-acre cemetery is modeled after the great garden cemeteries of Victorian Europe. You'll find winding paths, peaceful ponds, and towering trees that make it feel more like a park than a graveyard. But what really makes it special is what lies within. This is where President James A. Garfield is buried, and his memorial is nothing short of breathtaking. Step inside the towering structure, and you'll see stained glass windows, mosaics, and a balcony with views over the city. It's one of the most elaborate presidential memorials in the country. You'll also find the grave of John D. Rockefeller, the oil tycoon who once held more wealth than nearly anyone in history. His simple obelisk contrasts with the grandeur of his reputation. Scattered across the cemetery are dozens of unique sculptures, ornate mausoleums, and even a small chapel designed by Louis Comfort Tiffany. Many visitors come just to admire the architecture, stroll the peaceful grounds, or photograph the blooming cherry blossoms in spring. Number 4. Glacial Grooves State Memorial. Hidden on a quiet island in Lake Erie, Glacial Grooves State Memorial holds something you truly won't find anywhere else in the entire world: the largest and most accessible glacial grooves on the planet. Located on the northern tip of Kelly's Island, these deep, wavy ridges in the limestone bedrock were carved over 18,000 years ago by massive glaciers moving across Ohio during the last ice age. They're over 400 feet long, 35 feet wide, and up to 15 feet deep, and they look like nature took a giant claw and scraped through solid rock. There's a wooden boardwalk that winds around the grooves, giving you an up-close view without damaging the sight. Along the way, you'll find signs explaining how glaciers once covered much of North America, and how these natural forces shaped the landscape we see today. Besides the grooves, Kelly's Island itself is a peaceful escape. You can reach it by ferry from Marblehead, and once you're there, it's like stepping into a different pace of life. Small shops, sandy beaches, and scenic hiking trails make it a favorite for nature lovers and geology buffs alike. Number 3. Brandywine Falls. Tucked inside Cuyahoga Valley National Park, Brandywine Falls is one of the most breathtaking waterfalls in all of Ohio. It's located near the village of Sagamore Hills, just off Brandywine Road, and it's easily accessible by a short boardwalk trail from the parking area. The waterfall drops 65 feet over layers of sandstone and shale, forming dramatic tiers that almost look sculpted. What makes Brandywine so special isn't just the height, but the way the water gracefully spreads over the rocks, especially after a heavy rain, when the flow is loud, fast, and powerful. Visitors often describe the sound of the rushing water and the cool mist in the air as an instant mood lifter. It's also a favorite spot for photographers, especially during fall when the surrounding trees explode with color. If you're up for a longer walk, the nearby Brandywine Gorge Trail loops around the area, giving you multiple scenic views of the gorge and creek. It's an easy to moderate hike and a great way to experience more of the park's peaceful nature. Brandywine Falls is more than just a photo stop. It's a place where you can stand still, watch water carve through ancient rock, and feel connected to something timeless. Number 2. American Sign Museum. Tucked away in Cincinnati's Camp Washington neighborhood, the American Sign Museum is like walking into a time machine of color, neon, and Americana. This 20,000 square foot museum is the largest public collection of signs in the United States, and it's far more fascinating than you might expect. From hand-painted signs of the early 1900s to glowing neon shopfronts from mid-century diners and theaters, every piece here tells a story. You'll see signs from gas stations, soda brands, motels, and department stores, each one reflecting a slice of American history and design. One of the most unique parts of the museum is its recreated Main Street setup, where vintage signs are displayed just like they would have been decades ago, complete with storefronts and sidewalks. You can even peek into a working neon shop inside, where artisans still bend glass tubes by hand using old-school methods. It's easy to overlook this museum if you're just touring downtown Cincinnati, but locals will tell you it's one of the city's most underrated gems. Whether you're a history buff, a design lover, or just looking for something fun and different, the American Sign Museum is a quirky, colorful stop that surprises almost everyone who walks through its doors. Number 1. Hocking Hills State Park. Nestled in the rolling hills of southeastern Ohio, Hocking Hills State Park feels like something straight out of a fantasy novel. Located near the town of Logan, this park is one of Ohio's most breathtaking natural treasures, and surprisingly, many people outside the state have never even heard of it. The park is famous for its dramatic landscapes. Picture towering cliffs, cascading waterfalls, mysterious caves, and dense forests that seem to stretch forever. Trails wind through gorges and led to natural wonders like Old Man's Cave, Ash Cave, and Cedar Falls, each with its own unique beauty and history. You'll hear the sound of water echoing through rock walls, and sunlight filtering through the trees creates a peaceful glow that makes every visit feel a little magical. But Hocking Hills isn't just about the scenery. It's a place where you can hike, zipline, kayak, or simply sit by the fire and breathe in fresh, pine-scented air. It's especially popular in the fall, when the forest explodes in shades of red, orange, and gold. And if you're lucky enough to visit on a quiet weekday, you might even have an entire trail to yourself. And my lovely people, that's it for now. Let us know if you enjoyed watching this video and which part you liked the most. We'd love to hear your thoughts.